What do cults and brands have in common? They strive for complete devotion.
Complete devotion.
It's really crazy to compare big brands and cults, but really at the end of the day, that's the ultimate goal. And we're going to go through these stages of this with you guys.
Yeah, so I think if you look at, the stages, you have prospects and then you have customers and then you have loyal customers. Then maybe you might even have brand advocates or brand ambassadors. But I think there's one step further than that. And I think it really shines through. We were talking about in the Lululemon example, just because I've kind of followed that brand for a long time. But the next after a brand ambassador or a brand advocate is a cultist, right? And when I tell you that, they have created this brand, it's really amazing to watch it because I follow them on social media. And I noticed that they don't even have to answer complaints or people that say negative things a lot of times. It's the people that believe in that brand. They're so bought into it. They've created such a great experience. They've created such a great product that it makes people feel a certain way that they'll actually defend the brand from other people saying negative things. And so, man, when you can get to that point, it's almost like you take whatever your internal organization is, times it by 100, and you have that many people out there, marketing, advocating, protecting, taking up for you. So, man, it's hard to get there. There's not, that Lululemon's one that just came to mind. But then you think of some of the, the cultists, dude. What does a cult do? Jim Jones in Guyana, all those people drank the death punch, the Kool-Aid. When you can get to that point, which very few brands have, that, man, you have just created this army. Another example just recently is Jasper. They were the first ones to market with the new AI tool they built on top of the OpenAI protocol. And, they did a good job because they created this Facebook group, which was a little bit unusual. And it was actually really similar to what we experienced in the crypto business. In the crypto market, the community is everything, right? They place way more importance on it in the crypto space than they do in any traditional business that I've seen. And Jasper was the first company that I saw that went to Facebook and really started to interact with their clients, right? And I think that's another thing that creates that kind of that passionate loyalty is when people get in early and they're able to communicate. Maybe at some point they talk to the CEO of Lululemon or they got to communicate with some of their higher ups. Those are all things that people hold on to, man, and they wear it like a flag out there that, man, I talked to you. This is a great product. I heard it straight from the horse's mouth. So yeah, it's Jasper did a great job too. I think they have 100,000 or so. Very, very active community on Facebook. People coming together to teach each other and help each other on how to take advantage of this new great technology. And man, it's good to see. But that's another example of, I think there's a cult-like passion for Jasper.
So what technically classifies as a cult, and there's multiple definitions, but I'll just give this one. A cult is a group or movement held together by a shared commitment to a charismatic leader or ideology. And this is where we were talking about the brands that are able to establish this cult-like customer base make their customers feel a certain way about themselves. They project that, like Lululemon. The way women feel or men feel when they wear their clothes. And it's not, it's turned into a complete empire because now they have like work clothes and sports jackets and all those.
Where else there's a lot of like cult type brands in the sports arena. Like if you think about almost any football team any, like I know just like wearing my Notre Dame stuff, if I'm walking down, somebody will yell, "Go Irish!" Like you have, and it's almost like, oh, that's one of my cult members. We're connected. Those kind of things that I think drive it. It's a different type of deal, not necessarily like the product, but
it's the same thing. Yeah, football. The most passionate fans are, they'll defend you when somebody will defend you. It's one thing to like somebody, but you've kind of crossed over into that when you'll defend the brand or the college or the team or any of those things. That's when even just recently, just to step on with the jabs, right? There were people that were super passionate about that. They became almost like cultists, right? And they, just because they got the jab, they thought everybody else should get the jab. And they were out there. They created like this whole community of people who were passionate that it was the right thing to do. When they went out there, was another example of watching it happen in real time. Yeah.
How many people have that channel on Sundays?
And how many people feel bad the next day when their team doesn't win? It's like it affects their emotions all the way until
or the end of a season when you're like, oh shit, what do I do on Sundays now? Because I've literally been hibernating for 4 months, 5 months.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. That's what it'll do to you when you get wrapped up into something. That's probably the ultimate cult.
Well, and imagine like groom's cake. Like you think about weddings. Like people will do LSU Tiger Stadium groom's cake.
Yeah.
Like, hello, that's just insane.
Look at Rogan. Rogan's to me is one of the greatest examples because you see these people, hundreds if not thousands of people have gotten tattoos of Joe Rogan's, the icon from his podcast, on their bodies, dude. Like it's all the time, so it's.
So let's talk a little bit about the culture of creating that cult-like deal. And a lot of times I think they hit kids at a very young age because I remember, and this is like a funny story about cult-like kind of behavior, but like when I was little, jams was a big thing. I don't know. Obviously, this way before your time, Shannon. I don't know if it was even around when Sean was there, but it was like these weird-looking bathing suit type things, but it was a brand called Jams. And that's all I wanted. And my mom, being very frugal, said, no, I can make that. So she made me some ugly-ass shorts, and I hope she's not listening. And I had to wear them to a party, and I was crushed. But
they didn't look like Jams?
No.
Oh.
They were like gyms, I guess.
Oh, no. They had the for us, it was the short brand Chubbies for guys. Chubbies. They were like swim trunks, but like.
My mom probably thinks she could make some of those.
Yeah. It's a style a couple years ago. So I guess what can our audience take away from this
That's
discussion?
what I'm thinking. Like, we can unpack and
authenticity.
Anybody, you can create a cult-like following no matter who you are, right?
Yeah.
But you kind of got to be a little bit vulnerable because it's people are, it seems to me when these cults happen, it's because they either believe in a certain ideology or they would just love what the brand stands for, that, they're willing to defend it because they really believe what they stand for. So that's kind of where you'd start, create a memorable experience for your customers. Sell them a product at a fair price. Remember the little things, right? Mm-hmm. Birthday cards, anniversaries, those type of things, right? Because a relationship and passion is built over time, right? So there's one thing that happens. None of these things became overnight sensations. They all became had cult-like followings because they stood the litmus test. That when people look at that litmus test, did they deliver the product, a great product? Did they deliver it at a fair price? Are they always improving? Do I like their marketing and what they stand for? What are they doing on, on this issue, or this issue? So all of those things take time, and you can create it. Lululemon's an example at a big scale, but there's lots of local businesses and local restaurants that have cult-like followings because they've done the same thing, delivered on those promises every single day. And when you start stacking, it's like it multiplies, right? You get this law of multiplication because you're dealing with people. Think about all the hundreds of thousands of people you interact with. And if you took that approach, maybe it's a little tougher. Maybe you got to do things you don't want to do on bad days. But look at what the end result is, that you could create an army of people out there that when the question comes up, where should I go eat? What should I buy this? Oh, I was looking for this. Boom, they pipe up right away. Because that's when I know that somebody believes in something. When I mention it, it's like, yeah, this is where you got to go. And they give me the website. And it's like, they've recommended this to a lot of people before, And so anybody can do it. That's what we're trying to do with MarketingBox, our community, our mission of helping businesses accomplish. If we help businesses become successful, we're going to create a loyal following that, they have friends that own businesses or friends that need to do marketing. So that's the culture that we're trying to create here, where we're delivering an incredibly great service that's valuable to the customer, living up to our word, and creating a great experience along with our community.
Yeah, I think part of that too is like going on with creating that community is letting them have a voice, or at least the appearance of them having a voice. A lot of times, especially when you're just getting started off, those VIP programs are being the first to kind of be part of this, and we want your feedback on how to make things better.
Absolutely.
Then they feel like they're part of the success of what's going on, and it kind of steamrolls. And I think that's why a lot of times, like these fans for these teams, they go to the stadium, they think they're cheering, their loudness is impacting the game, they're making a difference. Them pissing off the other team is making a difference. It's like they feel like they're affecting the game, they're part of it. So, and I think that's where that passion kind of comes into. So as a small business, figure out ways to get them early. Like I know Jasper started a whole, like a Telegram channel or a Discord channel that kind of allowed people to kind of communicate and be a part of it. So now that community builds because they feel like they're part of its success. They're part of what's going on. So I think
listen, Mike, just kind of adding to that, ultimately these are the people that they mean so much to your business, because new products coming out, they're going to come because you've brought them in. now there's a real relationship here. You guys are sharing things. And as long as it's done with honesty and integrity, they're going to always be your best tool. New products rolling out to spread the word on new things. Maybe you're thinking about launching something. You have this great community to poll them, like we talked about surveying your community. So, man, there's so much more. First of all, it's good for business. Your business is going to improve greatly because you're looking at your business the right way. But there's a lot of things outside of the immediate return on investment that you get that maybe a lot of people don't think about because it's kind of long term. It takes a little while. But if you do these things, you look up in 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 years, and man, you have this, it creates so much stability for your business, you know, and it's a much more fun way to do it where you have a community of people that, it's funner to do everything with people, you know? Yeah, the more the better.
I like to call it a little army. I like that.
Yeah.
Army.
Well, I mean, it's also creating your product or your service for the community and not for yourself. You know, so it's not just my opinion on how things work. You're actually getting that feedback from your community and you're building it, moving in the same direction. So everybody's moving together and they feel like they're a part of it.
That's it, man. That's it. Yeah. Create a cult. That's what we're trying to do. Every business should be trying to do it.